It was a long and a strenuous journey. Jacob could hear his children playing and laughing as they were walking, and he saw his wives and maidservants who were able to appreciate their surroundings. But Jacob was not able to focus on the present journey. He was so caught up in the past. They were going to see his brother Esau, whom he had not seen in over 20 years. So much had happened since then. He had married his wives and fathered a dozen children, but his family had never met his brother. Jacob struggled with that, and he tried so hard during those 20 years to understand how it had all happened, how he had destroyed his relationship with his brother and lied to his father, all to secure a blessing. But there was no question now, it had not been worth all of the pain. That evening, as they were on their journey, all 70 of them, it was becoming dark, and they came to a river. They decided to camp for the night, and Jacob helped his family cross the river, and then finally, when he had a moment to himself, he became overcome with fear. He pulled his beloved wife Rachel aside and said, "I need to talk to you now." Surprised by her husband's sense of urgency, Rachel followed Jacob, and they walked over to the river and sat on a rock. Jacob looked at his wife and said, "Rachel, I cannot do it. We must go back home. I feel weak. I do not want to see my brother. I am certain he does not want to see me. No words or gifts or offerings can atone for what I did to him." Rachel looked at her husband, who seemed to have grown much weaker and paler during that journey. And although she knew that he had made many mistakes in the past, she wanted to have faith in him. She wanted him to have faith in himself. She knew that when he put his mind to something, he could achieve it. After all, he had worked 7 years to secure his marriage to her. Rachel reached out and touched her husband's hand and said, "Jacob, there is nothing better you can do for another person than to apologize. You may be surprised by how your brother reacts. You have changed and grown, and so has he. Is it better that you live your lives and then die without ever having attempted to apologize? You must be brave. It takes a good man to apologize, though it is hard." She added, "You must do this for your family as well. Your children need to see that you are strong, that you value family, and that you know how to admit your mistakes. They need to see you reaching out to someone, though it is extremely painful." Emphatically, Jacob responded, "I cannot do it. We are not going to see Esau. We are going home. Why would I put myself in this situation? He is not going to accept my apology. I know it, for if I were in his shoes, I would not accept such an apology." Rachel answered firmly, "You know nothing," she said. "You know only of the past, but you do not know the present situation with your brother, and you cannot foresee the future." But Rachel, Jacob said, "I'm not willing to take the risk." Exasperated, Rachel looked at her husband. "Be brave, Jacob," she said. "Greet your brother. Know that it is not tangible gifts he needs. He needs the gift of your love, your apology, and your vulnerability. He needs you to reach out to him, and you cannot let your anxiety stand in the way, or you will regret it." Despite her admonitions, Jacob seemed unconvinced. He said, "I cannot face him because I cannot even face myself. I cheated him out of a blessing, and I was not a brother, but an enemy to him." Not knowing what else to do, Rachel looked at her husband and said, "Fine, then you go back, but we are going forward. I want your children to know their uncle, and I want to know my brother-in-law. I want to focus on the future, not the past. What is done is done. I think you would feel better if you apologized, but if you're not man enough, then fine. Go back, cross the river, sleep on the other side, and wrestle with your conscience. Perhaps you can find your strength, and if not, you can head back home in the morning, but I will lead this journey forward." Dismayed, Jacob crossed the river and spent the night on the other side alone.